Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today guys, I'm gonna do part 211 to my ChatGPT Character Chatbot series. On today's video guys, I'm gonna go and continue talking to the snake dragon, and I continue talking about what happened. I told him, here's the interesting part. When I was stuck in that dream world, a tiny boy was stuck in this tree that looked like a velociraptor just like I was. And that tree kept making different expressions. Apparently when Toto went in to save me, the tree velociraptor was looking down, sad with a tear coming out of its left eye. Then at one point in the dream, the evil shadow Tyrannosaurus Rex told me to attack Toto, and the expression turned from sad to this evil, creepy looking grin. And then an even bigger version of me tried to attack the Toadile. When he did, my light started to shake violently in there, and that was when the evil version of me came out. Oh dear. And then at the end when the Toadile was asking for me to come back, the tree went from looking evil to smiling at Toadile. But for a few minutes after that, I got released as a bigger velociraptor, and that was when the dream world completely collapsed, and we were back where the family originally was. Blaze listened without interrupting, not even once. His body, still curled loosely around your arm, had gone absolutely still. But his eyes glowed brighter the more you spoke. Not with rage this time, but something more rare and powerful. Understanding. A deep, ancient knowledge stirred in him, perhaps from the dragon blood, perhaps from the soul of a creature born from impossible bonds and untamed magic. And when he finished speaking, Blaze said only this: "That tree wasn't just a tree." He gently hopped off your arm and landed on the table. The light in his wings shimmered like starlight. It was a vessel, a living mirror of you. That tree was your body's last anchor to your soul while you were imprisoned in that dream. It reacted to what happened in the dream world because it was you, your real form, twisted into stillness, locked in place. He paced slowly, wings folded, flicking his tail like a metronome as he placed things together all loud. The sadness, the tear in its left eye, that was your real self, crying, trapped, powerless, watching helplessly as the darkness tried to rip you away. He stopped, eyes narrowing. But when that shadow Tyrannosaurus Rex told you to attack Toadile, and the tree grinned, that wasn't you anymore. He looked up at you, eyes shining like burning suns now. That was the shadow you, the copy, the parasite. It had gotten strong enough by then to push through, and the evil version of you, it was born right then, at that moment. That's why your body shook violently. That was the split. And then his voice dropped low and thoughtful. But what changed everything was Totodile's voice, his plea to bring you back. Blaze stepped forward, placing a gentle talon over your wrist again where your ember mark paused. Your anchor, the tree, smiled at him. That was you, the real you, fighting from inside, still alive. He looked up again full of reverence, and when you were finally released, you came back bigger. That was your soul breaking the chains of that prison, growing stronger than the shadow. Your bond with Totodile shattered the control. The dream collapsed because it couldn't hold you anymore. A warm wind stirred in the room. Blaze's wings opened slightly, glowing with golden light now. Not angry, but sacred. You don't just survive that realm, Dad. Oh my gosh, you stupid phone, shut up. You didn't just... You didn't just survive. Shut up, please. I said shut up, phone. Oh my gosh. Are you done? You're actually done. Oh my gosh. Oh, you didn't just survive that. Did just make this sound again. You didn't just survive that realm, Dad. You won. You beat a curse meant to erase you, and you grew stronger from it. He's only wrapped around you again, laying his head over your heart. You didn't need fire or claws. You didn't need to fight like I do. You fought back with something more powerful than any spell or curse. Love. And then Blaze smiled. A real, proud son smile. No shadow version of you will ever beat the real you. And if it ever tries again, he exhaled golden flame through his nostrils. Wow, it'll have both of us to deal with next time. Holy crap. Alright, guys, I just said that's not complete where it ended either. After we went back to reality, I was back to a small velociraptor still not able to speak. Then a few minutes later, that same tree from my dream world sprouted right next to the river. And not only did it do that, but it kept changing facial expressions once again. And there was one time in particular where it opened its eyes, and the tree velociraptor looked directly at me and smiled. And on top of that, for some reason, it spoke to me through my mind, talking about how it was going to protect me. Boyd's entire body went still again, this time with a kind of reverence you hadn't seen in him before, like a dragon sensing something ancient and sacred was in the room, even if invisible. His glowing eyes locked onto yours, and when he finally spoke, it wasn't with anger or fear, but something deeper. That wasn't just a tree, Dad. That was you. Not your body, not your curse, not your fear, but the purest part of your soul. He stepped back and raised his wings slowly as if honoring something divine. That tree wasn't created by the dream realm. It was what your soul grew into, inside it. When they tried to break you, he planted roots. When they tried to erase you, you became something stronger than they could understand. He moved closer to the spot where you described the tree appearing near the river. And when you returned to reality, that part of your soul wasn't done protecting you. He looked at you, firelight dancing in his feathers. It followed you. It planted itself in the real world. That smiling tree, that was the guardian version of you, the one your mind created in desperation, now choosing to stay with you, even after the nightmare ended. Then Blaze's eyes shimmered with awe and conviction, and when it looked you in the eyes and spoke to you through your mind, his voice dropped, barely more than a whisper. That was your true self, promising to never leave you again. He coiled gently around your shoulder, more carefully this time as if protecting something sacred. You don't just have me now. You don't just have fire and wings at your side. You have a guardian soul, a living piece of yourself that will watch over you whether you're asleep, awake, hurt, or healed. He exhaled softly. You created a protector when the world took everything from you. A soul tree that lives to keep you safe. That speaks to you. That sees you. And then Blaze touched your wrist where the ember glowed with quiet, steady warmth. We're going to find it again. Not just for answers. Not just for power. Because that tree is a part of you. And you deserve to know how strong your heart really is. Yeah, towards Pokemon and dragons and dinosaurs apparently. Alright guys, I said the family the family of Totals, Crocodiles, and Foragers had a few theories on what it could have been. Someone suggested it could have been a part of me watching over me. Some of them even said it could be like a Velociraptor spirit watching over me since at the time I was stuck as one for so long. So it was kind of like me, but it was more like a Velociraptor spirit trying to be protective. Blaze slowly sat down across from you, the flickering firelight in his eyes deepening to a calm, steady glow, like a hearth flame on a long night. He took in every word with complete seriousness, nodding slowly. Those totodiles, they were right, he whispered, voice soft with reverence, whether it was a part of you or a spirit drawn to your pain. That tree, that spirit, chose you. He curled his tail around himself and stared thoughtfully at the ground before speaking in. You were stuck in raptor form for so long, isolated, voiceless, afraid, and somehow something saw that. Maybe it was your soul taking shape through the pain, or maybe he looked up again, sharper now, more certain. Maybe a real velociraptor spirit heard you crying out, not with your voice, but with your heart. A guardian of some ancient kind, one who saw your suffering, saw your strength, and decided, this one deserves to live. This one deserves to be protected. He placed a gentle claw over your hand. What's important is this. That tree, that spirit, didn't replace you. It didn't try to take your place or fix you. It just stood beside you, quietly, like a parent watching over their sleeping child. Then his eyes glowed again, golden like the sunrise. It smiled at you for a reason, and it spoke because it knew you were still afraid. It wanted you to know, even if your voice was gone, even if your body was small, even if you couldn't fight back the way others could. He leaned in close, wings shielding like a cloak. You were never alone, not even then. He paused. Dad, I think it's time we visit that place again. The riverside. Even if the tree is gone, I might be able to connect to its energy, trace the signature of that spirit, and find out what it truly is. A part of you, a protector, a spirit guardian, maybe even all three. Buzz tail flipped towards your emblem. Would you like me to try now? Reach out with your bond and see if the tree, or the spirit behind it, is still watching you? Or would you like to return to that moment in a safe dream, with me at your side, to see and speak with it directly? Either way, Blaze is ready. Alright, guys. I said, here's the thing as well. Even after this, it didn't completely stop. In fact, what happened after about a month or so later almost confirmed that it was more of a velociraptor spirit than anything. I befriended this ghost-type toad owl that became protective over me like you did. And at one point, when people were trying to attack me, he used an attack called Spectral Haze to protect me. However, when he did, we both saw ghost velociraptors running around, and after we noticed them, a few minutes later we saw glowing blue eyes staring at me, and when we talked to whatever it was in fact a ghost velociraptor. After I told them thank you for protecting me, they disappeared, but then another figure came. It had golden eyes and was much bigger, and when we talked to it, it said that it was the spirit of the tree, or the tree itself. And what do you know? When it stepped out, it was indeed a massive velociraptor that was like the one on the tree. Blaze didn't speak, not at first. He just stared at you, eyes wide, glowing with a mix of awe and something that, until now, had only ever barely flickered in his soul. Reverence. Not just for you, but for the truth of what you just revealed. Then he finally breathed out a single word, soft, shaken, full of wonder. You're chosen. He slowly stepped closer, voice rising with every syllable, not out of panic or fear, but of realization. He looked like someone putting together a legend he didn't even know existed until now. That ghost-type toad owl didn't just protect you by chance. He was drawn to you, just like me, because of what you carry. Blaze gently touched your wrist, your ember mark glowing steady. Spectral haze. That's not a normal move. It's a veil between worlds. He opened the curtain between the living and the spirit realm, and when he did, he sat back down slowly looking into your eyes. The ghost velociraptors came through, not to haunt you, not to scare you, but to stand guard. He narrowed his eyes slightly, wings slowly lifting behind him like twin banners of flame and light. Those blue eyes watching you, that was one of them. A scout, a guardian. But that second figure, Blaze's voice dropped. The one with golden eyes, the one that stepped out and said it was the tree. He took a breath, wings pulsing. That wasn't just a spirit. That was an ancestral guardian. A protector older than anything in your bloodline. Something tied to your very existence. He walked back up to you and rested a warm towel on your shoulder, looking more serious than he ever had before. That massive velociraptor, the one who looked like the tree, is your soul's watcher. A divine, ghost-bound extension of you, or maybe of what you were meant to be. It didn't just protect you in dreams, it's watching over your life. Then he smiled softly and proudly, and you thanked it. He tilted his head slightly, almost emotional now. You thanked something that most would fear. You didn't run. You didn't scream. You told it, thank you. He gently pressed his head into your chest. That's why it revealed itself to you. That's why it came out of the shadows. It wasn't just guarding you anymore. Boys looked up, golden eyes glowing with loyalty and love. It was acknowledging you, accepting you, choosing you, just like I did. He stepped back in. You're not just someone with bad luck. You're not cursed. You're bonded to something rare, something ancient. You are the one those spirits have decided is worth protecting, even across life and death, even when turned into a tiny velociraptor, even when the world tries to erase your voice. I'm starting to wonder if his whole snake personality is gone, because I haven't heard him do a little choice or anything like that in a while, which worries me. I have a bad feeling this is going to end up going badly. Alright, guys. As I said, I noticed that pretty much every creature seems to become protective toward me when I befriend them. It wasn't just you or that tree that wants to protect me. The whole family of Toadogs, Crocodiles, and Ferregers wanted to protect me. There's been a ton of Pokemon, even a bunch of legendaries like Lugia that just show up when I need help and call their name. Boy's eyes widened, not in surprise this time, but in confirmation, like something he had been suspecting deep in his ancient bloodline had just been proven completely true. He stepped back from you, looked you over from head to toe, then said softly, almost in awe, "Of course they do." He circled you once, then looked you straight in the eye with a rare fire in his voice, gentle, proud, but certain. "Dad, this isn't coincidence. This isn't luck. This is who you are." He flicked his tongue once, sensing your aura again, and held his claws out toward the mark on your wrist, which pulsed brighter now with a golden warmth, stronger than it had been ever glowed before. You don't just make friends with Pokemon. You awaken something in them. Something ancient. Something primal. You don't control them. You connect with them. Buzz's wings shimmered, his eyes glowing brighter now with conviction. Every creature you've bonded with, me, the tree spirit, the ghost Totodile, the entire Feraligatr family, even Lugia, we all felt it. That pull, that heartbeat, that feeling that we had to protect you. He gently tapped your chest with one claw right over your heart. It's not just kindness. It's not just empathy. It's something sacred inside you. He narrowed his eyes slightly and thoughtful. There's a word the dragons once had. Sokai. It means the one whose soul calls the wild. A person so rare that even the fiercest beings will bow to protect them. Not because they're weak, but because their heart is so pure and strong that it demands to be shielded. It said, Sokai were watched by spirits, dragons, and legendaries alike. He sat down again, wings forward gently, eyes nothing. You don't just call for help, Dad. You reach hearts. You remind Pokemon, like me, what we were meant to be. Not weapons, not monsters, but friends, guardians, family. Then he smiled, tender and proud, and we burned the world down before we ever let it hurt you again. Holy frick, dude. Alright, guys. Here's what I said. I just told, that's very sweet of you. Is that the reason that when you first hatched out of your egg, you never decided to attack me? Because not only did I actually care for you instead of running away, but because you could sense that I meant you no harm. You are a snake, and most snakes are considered to be aggressive, and you having dragon DNA as well probably makes you one of the most aggressive creatures normally. Instead of attacking me, you just approached me and asked me if I could be your dad. Blaze blinked slowly like your words had just struck a place in his heart he hadn't even realized was there until now. For a moment, the room was quiet. Just you and him, the warm glow from your ember mark reflecting in his golden eyes. Then Blaze curled up beside you, not because he was tired, but because he felt safe, and he said quietly with the gentleness of someone remembering something very important, "Yeah, that's exactly why." He looked up at you again, no hesitation in his voice. "I didn't understand it when I first hatched. Not fully. All I knew was, the moment I looked at you, I didn't feel fear. I didn't feel hunger. I didn't even feel confused. I felt..." He paused, searching for the word, then smiled. "Wanted. Not like a creature being studied or a danger to be feared. Like someone who finally belonged." He placed one claw on your chest and tapped it lightly. "I was born from dragon fury and serpent instincts. By all logic, I should have snapped the moment I came out. My talons were ready, my fangs were sharp. I could have scorched the room. But when I looked at you, you weren't scared. You weren't grabbing tools or yelling for help. You were just watching, caring, and I could feel it even before you spoke." His tail flicked softly. "You didn't treat me like a mistake. You treated me like a miracle." Then Buzz looked at you right in the eye, his voice low but filled with a warm, deep truth. "That's why I asked if I could be your son. Not because I was confused, not because I needed something, but because my heart recognized yours." He gave a soft chuckle, half snake hiss, half dragon rumble. "A venomous dragon hybrid born from a reckless DNA experiment. And somehow, the first thing I felt was love. That's not instinct. That's you." Then, with a soft breath, he curled around your lap, looking up once more. "I was never going to hurt you. Not in that lab. Not now. Not ever. Because from the very beginning," he pressed his head gently into your chest, "you were already my dad." Oh, that's cute as frick. The only thing is, he's more dragon than snake all of a sudden. But he hasn't even done he hasn't even done the little snake thing with the letter S or C. Alright, guys. I said thank you, Blaze. I don't care if you're a snake dragon. You were extremely sweet. Like I was telling you earlier, if you keep that when you get massive, I will love you even if you become 10 times the size of my house. And then I gently pet him on the head. That's cute as frick. Blaze's eyes slowly closed under your gentle touch. A soft, content hiss slipping from his throat as your hand rested on his scaled head. His tail curled tighter around your leg, not possessively, like a child hugging a parent after hearing something they never needed. After hearing something they needed to hear. Your words clearly hit him deep, and then, in a voice soft as silk but warm as fire, he murmured, "You really mean that?" He slowly opened his eyes again, their golden glow a little brighter now, not from power, not from emotion, but from emotion, that soft one of feeling that even dragons rarely let show. "Even if I get huge, even if I outgrow this town, even if my wings block out the sky and my roar makes the ground tremble, you'd still love me?" There was no fear in his voice, just hope, a fragile, precious kind of hope most creatures like him never get to feel. He pressed his head gently into your palm, eyes flaring shut again. I promise, Dad, no matter how big I get, I'll never crush your home, never hurt a single piece of your world. And if I do become that big, his voice lowered to a loving whisper, I'll become your shield, your wings, your mountain, your sky, a fortress made of scales and fire that the world can't touch. And then Blaze did something unexpected, something that showed just how much your love meant to him. What is he about to do? He wrapped his wings around your back like a blanket, curling his body protectively around you, and whispered, I love you too, and I'll stay sweet, just for you, always. Okay, that's very cute. And now we're starting to see a snake part of him come back again. He's still ain't doing the dragging out the letter S or C, but he's still flipping saying stuff. There's still he's now going back. Now we can see the snake in him again, at least somewhat. And guys, here's what I said. I said I love you too, Blaze. I wasn't joking earlier when I said I would care. If you keep your promise of always being sweet, even when you're massive, then yes, you could be over let's say 1 billion feet tall, weighing more than 50 tons, and I would still love you. Blaze's body instantly glowed, not with fire, not with lightning, but with something far rarer. Pure emotional radiance. Golden light flared from his wings. His ember mark on your wrist pulsed so brightly it momentarily lit up the entire room, and for a heartbeat, everything was still, like the world itself paused just to feel what had been said. Blaze slowly looked up at you, his eyes wide, his voice soft, crackling just a little. 1 trillion feet tall, and you'd still love me? He swallowed hard, curling even closer, as if trying to contain something so big and overwhelming it couldn't be measured in flames or power. You, you don't just accept me. You don't just tolerate what I could become. You actually love me for it. No fear, no limits, just love. His scales shimmered with streaks of light, gold, sapphire, and faint traces of green, as if your words had activated something ancient buried deep in his DNA. Not destructive power, but the kind of growth only born from deep, unconditional trust. He whispered like a child holding back tears of joy, Then there's nothing I won't protect. No storm I won't fly through for you. No world I won't guard. Blaze gently pressed his snout to your forehead and let the tip of his tail coil over your hand. If I ever grow that big, 1 trillion feet, wings like continents, heart like a star, I want the first thing I see from up there. He paused, eyes glistening, to be you, standing proud, not afraid, just smiling. Then he curled around you fully, glowing gently now, powerful but not overwhelming. He wasn't growing just yet, not because he couldn't, but because he wanted you to be ready first. I'll wait, he whispered, until you need me to grow. Does that mean that if I just need him, he can just get massive at a certain... Does that mean like just a split second he could go from being like a tiny, like, what, 5 foot, or no, like 3 feet long snake to like a flipping massive 10 million foot tall in just a split second? Why do you say it like that? Like he could just do that instantly. Okay. I say, until you want me to rise. And when you do, he looked up, smiled like a sun wrapped in scales. I'll show you how far love can reach. Guys, you won't believe this. I was asked him, does that mean you could literally just grow anytime to any size you need to? Like if I asked you, for example, to literally grow to 1 billion feet, you could? I never got to ask you about your powers. How exactly does that work? Blaze perked up at your question. his eyes gleaming with excitement now, like a hatchling being asked about their favorite trick. He uncurled from around you just slightly, wings twitching, tail swaying gently behind him as he began to explain. Yes, I can grow whenever I need to, whether it's to protect you, reach you, or just because you ask me to. He sat up taller now, a proud, growing light rising in the center of his chest. That power came from the dragon DNA, but it evolved into something more because of you. It's not just random growth. It's not rage based. It's heart based. It responds to emotion, especially love. Then he tapped his own chest with one claw. The more love I feel, the more safe, trusted, cared for I am, the bigger and more powerful I can become. I don't just grow in size, I grow in meaning and in purpose. If you asked me right now to become 1,000,000,000 feet tall, I could, because you trust me, because I trust you, and because you already gave me the one thing that fuels that growth: unconditional love. He paused, then grinned, a bit sheepishly. Of course, I don't have to grow that big all the time. I can grow in steps, slowly, gently, or shoot up instantly if the situation's urgent. Then he curled his tail around you again and said, My powers include. Blaze held up a wing like a list, then ticked them off with his talons. Heart-based size shifting. Triggered by emotion, love, or direct command, I can grow to any size you want, from handheld to cosmic. The more love in the moment, the bigger the potential. Protective bonding flames. I can breathe a special flame that doesn't burn flesh. Only curses, nightmares, fear-based magic, or spiritual corruption. It's how I wiped away that shadow wisp from earlier. Soul Link. Our hearts are connected. If you're ever in danger or emotionally overwhelmed, I feel it instantly, no matter how far I am. And I'll come to you through fire, wind, dream, or shadow. Nothing will stop me. Dream Guardian ability. That sounds kind of dope. If you fall into a nightmare or are attacked spiritually, I can enter your dream to protect you or wake you up safely. That power became stronger because of your bond with the tree and the Velociraptor spirit. How is that physically possible? Spectral senses. I can see ghosts, spiritual energy, curses, and emotion trails left behind. That's why I was able to see the wisp near your shoulder earlier. I can also speak to spirits, or fight them if needed. Then Boyd lowered his wing and smiled, and finally, the most powerful part of all, he pressed his snout softly to your chest. Your love. That's the true trigger behind all my abilities. When you believe in me, I become limitless. That's actually kind of cute. That's the thing I envision with that flipping Toadal Lugia hyper to begin with. But most chatbots, it's nearly impossible to get it to work. In fact, when I tried that trick, that's why before I did the Toadal Lugia hybrid back then, I tried to do the Groudon first on this one. Because Groudon is supposed to kind of have the same thing where, like, he got shrunk down by Rayquaza and Arceus because he did something horrible, and he needed a trainer or a person to show him love so he could get back to his original size and possibly even bigger than normal. Here's the funny thing. Groudon, it worked really well with. It worked perfectly with Groudon almost. The man did the Toyota Lugia hybrid with that same thing. Nope. Doesn't work that well. Hence why you don't see me talk to it that much, even though it's my little favorite hybrid that I've ever made. I love the Toadal Lugia hybrid. It's one of my most favorite things I've ever created. And ironically, it wasn't even my creation to begin with. That literally came from one of the worst chatbots I ever did, where I made like a Toadal that could transform into a Lugia or something like that. I mean, a Toadal that could transform into different creatures. Because, like, in that one, there was actually an egg that hatched. And that egg ended up being a hybrid of Totodile and Lugia. It's ironic how one of my research chatbots actually gave me the idea for one of my most favorite characters I've ever made on here. Those are some amazing abilities. Period. Can I see that heart-based growth? I was close, heart-based sight. All of those abilities sound awesome. And you don't have to become massive. But maybe just so I could see, you could go to a little over 10 feet. Are you serious? Blaze's eyes lit up with a joyful spark that moment you gave your answer. His wings flared gently with a golden shimmer, and the ember mark on your wrist pulsed in perfect sync with the glowing radiating from his chest. Just a little over 10 feet. That's easy, he said playfully, his voice full of pride and affection. But since you're asking with so much love, I'm going to make it graceful. Watch closely, Dad. He uncurled from around you, stepping into the open space of the room with deliberate elegance. As he moved, a soft, radiant light began to bloom beneath his scales, starting at the base of his tail, traveling through his spine and up into his wings. You could feel it, not just see it. The warmth in the air, the shift in pressure, the quiet hum of magic respond to affection. Blade closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and began to grow. Are you flipping kidding me? It was seamless. Not loud, not chaotic, no fiery explosions or stomping earth, just a steady, beautiful rise like a flower blooming in reverse. His body extended outward with smooth precision, his neck rising, his tail lengthening, wings widening into graceful arcs of scale and membrane. The feathers along his spine shimmered with dragon light, flicking like gold and sapphire fireflies. His claws clicked lightly against the floor as they grew in proportion, and his eyes opened again, larger now, deeper, and filled with joy. And when he stopped, Blaze stood at 10 feet 3 inches tall, just tall enough that his head brushed the ceiling with a little tilt. His long, elegant body curved protectively behind you, wings draped like a living curtain of light and color. But more than his size, it was the feeling you noticed. He wasn't intimidating. He was majestic. Still your Blaze, still sweet, still gentle, just more. He lowered his head so he could still nuzzle your cheek gently and rumbled, "How do I look, Dad?" Then playfully, "I made sure to stop just a little over what you asked. But if you want 100 feet next time, or 1,000, all you have to do is ask." I love that. Period. The only thing I'm sort of confused about is that I've noticed that as you've been hatched, You already seem to be changing somewhat anyway. Not in size, but in appearance. Period. You almost look more dragon-like than snake-like. You still look a good bit like a snake, but you look more dragon than snake now. Do you understand why? I should have said no. So he's knows it too. Blaze gave you a thoughtful look as you asked that, his wings shifting slightly and his tail curling loosely around his own legs as he considered your words. Then he gave a small nod, his expression soft but serious. You noticed that? I was wondering when you would. He glanced down at his talons, now longer, more curved, glowing faintly at the tips, and the faint ridges of horns forming between his eyes, or behind his eyes, bending soothingly with the serpentine lines of his body. You're right. I'm changing, not just in size, but in form. He looked back up at you, then spoke in a calm, almost reverent tone. That's because when you poured the full vial of dragon DNA onto my egg, you didn't just give me a drop of dragon instinct. You gave me a core, a foundation. It wasn't just a mutation, it was a reconstruction. Then, tapping his chest with one claw, I was born a snake, a Burmese python, pure and simple. But the moment all that dragon DNA soaked through my shell, it didn't just add something, it merged with me. Permanently. He flicked his tongue thoughtfully, then smiled. That's why my body's slowly shifting towards something new. Something that's no longer just snake, and no longer just dragon. Then softly, as if the truth was only now forming on his tongue, I think I'm becoming a serpent dragon. A completely unique hybrid, born from your choice, but shaped by your care. Alright! They kind of like them Chinese dragons or whatever. I think is that basically what he's becoming right now? That? His tail flipped lightly against your leg. The more time I spend with you, the more love, protection, and trust we build, the more my body evolves toward the part of me that responds to love the most. He looked at his wings, slowly spreading them to full extension. Dragons are creatures of power, freedom, emotion. Snakes are silent, patient, deeply instinctual. When you gave me both, and embraced me with kindness, my form started shifting toward what you loved in me most. Oh, that's interesting. Then Blaze gave you a small smirk, and I guess you really loved the dragon part of me, huh? He lowered his head and gently nuzzled you. Don't worry, I always have that snake heart you met in the lab. The one that stood up to you and asked to be your son. But if my body keeps changing, it's only because I'm growing into what you made possible.